Adam Schefter at ESPN says there's 275,000 people.
Well, that was some party in downtown Detroit. 775,000 people, shattering the NFL draft attendance record.
This is the future. Evolution. This is the future. Evolution.
All right. Good morning. It is training camp day. Look, ladies and gentlemen, we finally have made it. We're here. Training camp is just 24 hours away. Rookies are supposed to report, and tickets go on sale today at 10 a.m., so make sure you guys get out there and get your tickets. And, of course, with the help of the mods and everybody else today, we're going to make sure that we get some extra tickets for you guys so we can give them away. Last couple of seasons, we've given away over 100 tickets. We've made some families' dreams that have been able to go. We know far too often people get tickets and they don't go, so we want to make sure that we can send some families and some audience members and some new subscribers of the channel to training camp because they've never been, and it's extremely hard to get tickets. It wasn't this way 10 years ago. You could walk in the day of without a ticket. Now, today, you have to have tickets, and they're gone within the first 30 minutes of logging on today. So make sure you guys are in early. I know that I will be. And let's get this show kicked off. I know we're a little bit late today. NFL headlines. We're going to recap what happened with Quinnshon Judkins yesterday and NFC North quarterback rankings, or NFL quarterback rankings. And what happened to Teddy B? Teddy B's in a little bit of trouble, but it's all for the right reasons. And Matt LaFleur, we're going to talk about him a little bit this morning in the NFC North report. And then Jameson Williams contract extension. Is it going to happen? And can you believe how much it's potentially going to be? So all that and more. And let me get the guys in this morning. Gentlemen, what's happening?
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
All right. Well, are you guys' engine started? You ready to roll?
I'm ready to rock. Let's do it.
Hey, that's my saying. You can't say that.
Copywritten.
It's trademarked. No, I'm just kidding. It probably is, honestly. So, just not by me. All right. So we got a lot to do today in a little bit of time because we're going to jump off in about an hour-ish so that we can make sure that we're in line to get tickets. So we're going to try to fly through some of these this morning. We'll try to cut out as much of the small talk as possible so we can get you guys your news. But first question, man, how excited, Eric, are you for another training camp? Last year we went to one together.
Yep.
I don't know if you went to more than that. I mean, I went to 5 or 6 of them, but what is your thoughts after going to a training camp in Allen Park? Was your first year last year, right?
Yeah, that was the first time I went, and it was awesome. I was more focused on watching our brand new kicker last year than anything. So I was watching Jake Bates. He was kicking right in front of me. In the defense and everything was way off in the other field. So this year I am going to try for either August 14th or August 21st. So those are the 2 dates where we are having joint practices with other teams. And then there's a day off, and then we play the preseason game. So I'm hoping to go to one or both of those practices.
Well, unfortunately, I wasn't able to get in when we had to get the loyalty tickets, and neither was my dad. So, I mean, we tried from multiple phones, multiple devices, couldn't get in. So hopefully our rep comes through today. It is able to get us a few tickets to go to one of the loyalty. I like to go to at least one. And, I mean, it's no different. Like the prizes or, the gifts that they give out at the beginning, it's really no different. There's nothing special about being a Lions loyal member going to training camp that I've noticed so far. So it's really not a big deal other than you're first, right? And if, you know what they say, if you're not first, you're last, but it's really no different. There's nothing big going on. So if you can make it to any date, it's good. So Riley, you have yet to go to a game in Ford Field. You haven't been to training camp yet. Maybe next season, it sounds like you're going to try to get up here for a training camp.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to make it to Ford Field this coming season. And then, I think this time next offseason, I got to come out and represent. But I'm excited, man. We're down to, I think it's 54 days. Brandy Coffee could probably verify for us until that week 1 game at Green Bay. So I think we've just about made it through the offseason. And season's just around the corner. But, yeah, I'm excited and can't wait to get out to Allen Park eventually.
Late. You'll be there at some point. Speaking of the countdown clock, let's give it up to Pro Sports Zone this morning. Big friend of the show. Love John Yu, man. Love what he represents. But get to Pro Sports Zone in Livonia. Get all of your gear ahead of training camp, which starts tomorrow. So if you haven't received it yet, if you haven't gone in to get your stuff yet, you can't order it online from John, but you can get in and have an amazing experience inside of Pro Sports Zone. 37700 Park Place, 6 Mile in Laurel Park Place Mall in Livonia. Get in there, check it out. They are the sponsor of the countdown clock. And obviously we know that there's only 24 hours left before training camp, but 16 days, 11 hours, 36 minutes, and now 15 seconds ahead of the Hall of Fame game kickoff. I do have front row seats to that game. I'm hoping that we'll get credentialed for that game, but I do have front row seats at least for that one. Every year, I'm trying to buy these season tickets to the Hall of Fame game from a guy that has had them for 20 years. So at least I have the good relationship with him now that, I got good front row seats in the end zone with all of the other elite, former pro players that are all sitting right next to us eating their, $1,000 plates of food, whatever they're eating over there. Looks good. Smells even better.
You might have another pair of Jahmyr Gibbs gloves coming your way.
Maybe. Matter of fact, I got to get this one signed. Now that it's dried out from the monsoon in Green Bay.
Yeah.
It took about a year. But we're going to have to get that thing signed. All right, let's get it kicked off, man. Quinnshon Judkins, we talked about it yesterday, that he got suspended. I'm sorry, he didn't get suspended. He got in trouble. Alleged domestic battery. He did not sign his contract. So the reason why I'm following up on this is because there was an article that stated by Mike Florio that even though he didn't sign his contract, he's still subject to the personal conduct policy. So he can't avoid punishment. No matter what happens, whether he signed a month ago or today, he's still gonna get in trouble by the NFL. There was a quote in here. It said, quote, nothing in this policy should be read to limit the league's authority to investigate or discipline potential policy violations alleged to have occurred before a player is under contract or draft eligible. So, yes, the policy applies to Judkins for something that allegedly happened in July of 2025. And it also would have applied potentially to something that allegedly happened in July of 2024 or July of 2023. You get the point that it doesn't matter. They're still going to get in trouble. So, Quinnshon Judkins, unfortunate situation. Moving forward, man, Eric, they put out the Scouts rank. NFL's top 10 quarterbacks. Let me preface this again. This is the Scouts rank. So this isn't the coaches rank. This isn't the players rank. This isn't the writers rank. This is the Scouts rank. So you would think that we would have a little bit more respect for what these guys do because these guys are scouting the NFL talent each and every season. So walk us through, I guess the top 10 quarterbacks here. Where does Jared Goff land? That's a question to the chat right now. Where do you think Jared Goff landed in this article here by Jeremy Fowler is put out on July 14? Do you think that Jared Goff is a top 10 quarterback? I've seen a lot of rankings over the last month or so that has Jared Goff at or near top 10, but not top 5, where he was or should be. So where's he ranking?
Yeah. So last year, Goff came in at number 9. And this year, there's a couple quarterbacks ahead of him that probably shouldn't be. So at the beginning of this list, number 1, of course, is Patrick Mahomes, everybody's favorite, right? Number 2 is Josh Allen from the Buffalo Bills. Then you get to number 3, Mr. Joe Burrow, the star of quarterback last year. Then you have Lamar Jackson of the Baltimore Ravens. And then number 5, surprisingly, is Jaden Daniels, the rookie from last year. You get to number 6, it is Matthew Stafford. And this is where I believe somewhere in the 5 to 6 range is where Jared Goff truly belongs. And then they have Justin Herbert at number 7. And then coming in at number 8, moving up 1 spot from last year, is Detroit Lions Jared Goff. And it says,
So hold on here. Number 8?
Number 8 is where they have him. With the number 1 offense in the entire NFL last year, he comes in at number 8. The disrespect for Jared Goff is unbelievable.
Oh, it is. It absolutely is. That Justin Herbert ahead of Jared Goff doesn't make sense. Yeah. Matthew Stafford, I mean, he won a Super Bowl, but is this about, are the rankings about this year? That's the question that I have to you, Riley. I mean, do you think that the rankings should be about this year? Or is it a culmination of what you have done?
Yeah, going into it, I would think that it was based on, okay, this is where they've got these guys ranked this year. But interestingly enough, the next name behind Jared Goff is the quarterback that just won the Super Bowl. So what criteria they're using, it's hard to say for sure. But I would think that it's for this coming season. But I don't know if you're taking Herbert and Stafford over Jared Goff for the 2025 year.
So, Eric, I mean, walk us through what they said about Goff, and then I want to just kind of go back and forth with this and talk about a few of these quarterbacks.
Yeah, so last year he ranked number 9. This year he ranks number 8. 3 years ago, heck, even 2, placing Goff in the top 10 was a bold move. Now it's rare to find a ballot without his name on it. Goff appears on 82% of the top 10 submissions. He's developed into one of the game's best pure passers, a veteran NFC defensive coach said. He doesn't turn the ball over like he used to. He's a reliable quarterback with a real arm. He's not just a drop back passer who makes bleep happen. He's become more than that. Goff ranked 2nd in the NFL in yards per attempt last season at 8.6 and threw for the 2nd most yards in the league at 4,629. He was especially good on play action, completing 75.4% of his play action passes for 1,978 yards and 15 touchdowns, leading the NFL in both categories. Coming from an air raid offense at Cal, Goff entered the league as a rhythm and timing thrower. He struggled when pass rushers disrupted that timing. He has countered that weakness and elevated his game. He's improved in his ability to reset his feet and deliver the ball accurately, and it's changed his career, a veteran AFC scout said. The coaching staff in Detroit gave him a greater sense of calm in the pocket, and he's capitalized on it. Goff's success has come with 2 of the game's best play callers in Sean McVay and now Bears head coach Ben Johnson. Now he must prove he can do it again without them. And his career
Adaptations?
Adaptability.
Yes, he'll be up to the challenge. I can't talk this morning. Holy moly. But anyway, they put him 1 spot above Jalen Hurts. So I don't know exactly what the criteria is for this list. But Jalen Hurts won the Super Bowl last year. Now, he did it with a rushing attack more than an air attack. So I don't know. Jared Goff was number 2 in yards, number 2 in touchdowns, and you're putting him at number 8? I don't understand it.
So I don't get it either. I won't dive deep into Jalen Hurts' stats, but I mean, I think he did throw the ball quite a bit last year, more so than I think he has in years past, which I think gave him some credibility as to why What is going on with Twitter this morning? Apparently I can't log into Twitter.
Something new.
Unbelievable. It says, keeps on saying error. Oops, something went wrong. Please try again later. That sounds fun. Okay, so anyway, Jaden Daniels at 5. The dude is a second-year quarterback.
Yeah.
He had a lucky year last year, and I'm going to call it lucky because he was a rookie. And we don't know what he is. So if you haven't strung together 2, 3, or 4 seasons yet, that's why I have heartburn over this type of a list, because is it about what they're expecting that they're going to do, or is it about what they have already done and expecting what they're going to do? What is the criteria to your point, Riley? How are they ranking these guys? So let's start with number 1, Patrick Mahomes. Okay, he's the best quarterback in the NFL until he's not. Right? He's been to the most Super Bowls. He's put up a ton of stats. You could put him there. Josh Allen at number 2. He is the regular season winner, right? He hasn't done anything in the postseason, right? He's barely winning playoff games, but he puts up a ton of stats and then he falls apart. Why is he at number 2?
He was the MVP last year.
Okay, well that's great. Number 3, Joe Burrow. Again, he's been in the league 4 seasons now, and he had a good season last year throwing the football. But what has he done? He went to a Super Bowl early in his career, lost, and then he hasn't done anything since. So I don't understand why Joe Burrow would be up that high. Is he, in my opinion, a top 5 quarterback? Probably. If he's healthy and he's playing like he did last year, absolutely. But I think that this list it's jaded because you have Lamar Jackson in at number 4. Again, he's done nothing in the postseason. He went to the playoffs when he was a rookie, and then he didn't go back until last year, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe that's not accurate, but the fact that he's at number 4 ahead of Jared Goff wouldn't make any sense. But then again, is he a better quarterback than Jared Goff? And I would say no. I think they're 2 different styles of quarterbacks. I think that he does some things better than Jared Goff, and I think Jared Goff does some things better than Lamar Jackson. Would I ever put Lamar behind Jared Goff right now? I don't know. I'd put him neck and neck, I guess. Matthew Stafford won a Super Bowl. He's been super consistent throughout his career to put up a bunch of stats. Does he deserve to be at number 6 heading into a league at 37 years old? Like, are we really worried about Matthew Stafford? Ahead of Jared Goff doesn't make sense because Jared Goff has beat him in every single meeting except for one.
If it didn't say Los Angeles next to Stafford's name, I don't think he'd be at 6.
It's a good point, too. If it said Detroit Lions, he'd probably be at 10, right?
Yeah. It'd still be one of these things like, man, most of the NFL football world doesn't know how good this guy is, but he plays in Los Angeles. I think that's a big part of it.
So if I were to just shuffle a couple of names, it would be Jaden Daniels probably at 7. I would put Jared Goff at least up to 6. Justin Herbert back at 8 or 9, maybe even 10, probably 10. I definitely put Baker Mayfield ahead of Justin Herbert. I would put Jalen Hurts ahead of Justin Herbert. So that's at least Herbert at 10.
Yeah.
Jaden Daniels, is he a top 5 quarterback? I don't think so. Not yet.
Not yet.
He had 1 season. I need to see more.
Well, this list probably had CJ Stroud top 5 for last year's list.
I'm surprised he's not in the top 10.
Yeah, and look at his drop off.
So let me throw this at you. Like, Riley, you would understand this because you've been in sales for a while. So if you get hired by a new company and you hit the sales floor and let's say you go out on your first day and you get the biggest sale of the week, but it happens to also be the biggest sale of the month, and maybe it's the biggest sale of the year dollars wise, are you now the best salesperson in that room?
Everybody thinks that you are the living, I don't want to get religious on it, but everybody thinks you are the greatest salesperson that's ever lived.
Yeah, but my question is, are you now the best salesperson because you have the biggest sale?
In reality, no.
Exactly. You are not the most polished. You haven't done it long enough. You've never done sales before. You walk in on your first day of the job and you just so happen to land a super big deal. Well, that doesn't mean that you're better than the guy that's been doing it for 20 years that has sold $100 million in RVs or cars or houses or whatever. You just happen to get one deal. Now, what if you don't have a deal for another 6 months? So you put me on the list at number 1, but then I don't do squat for 6 more months. It's the same thing. Same thing for quarterbacks, man. You have a good month, you have a couple of good games, you have a halfway decent year, and all of a sudden you're at the top of a list. This is no secret, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I get a lot right, because these people suck at doing lists. I'm sorry. They're terrible at it. There's so much bias in this. There's no reality in it. At least that's how I feel. But we are able to get things right because we can see right through it all and put these guys where they belong. I'll put up a top 10 tonight when I get some time. I'll re-rank it all and we'll just see what sticks on the wall, I guess. 30 seconds to you guys on this topic.
Yeah, mine is just that I don't know what the exact criteria were for this list, so I don't know what they're basing it upon. Pure stats, wins, playoff appearances. What? It can't be that, because Joe Burrow didn't have the wins, didn't even make the playoffs, got 3rd place in their division. So winning must not be the criteria. He had the most stats. I mean, he had the most touchdowns and most yards in the league. So maybe that's what it is. Brings him up to number 3. But
I just don't see how 1 year can propel you to the top. You know what I mean?
I don't get it either, because I don't know what the criteria is for this list. I'm going to have to find out.
Is anybody else having trouble signing into Twitter?
Let me see.
Go ahead, Riley.
I think for me on it, it's just a matter of it with quarterback coming out. It's kind of been on our minds a lot lately, but I'll just come back to this. You know, we can nitpick it. I don't necessarily agree that Goff's number 8. You know, I don't think that there's many quarterbacks I'd rather have than Jared Goff on this team right now. And it's just a reality that we've got a top 8 quarterback. And on this list, he's ahead of Jalen Hurts. If you would ask me this morning before I even opened the link, I would have guaranteed that Hurts was ahead of Goff. So we can nitpick it, but on the other side of it, hey, we've got a top 8 quarterback, depending on who you talk to, maybe top 5 quarterback, but I'm damn happy to have Jared Goff.
I am too, man. I think that, you know, there almost needs to be 2 boxes for these guys. You know, box A is your mobile dual threat guys, and box B is your pocket passers. You know, I'll simply mention one name, and that is a name that nobody could ever compare to, and that's Tom Brady. It's a pocket passer his entire life. The dude averaged 29 yards a year in rushing. You do not need to be a dual threat or a mobile quarterback to win football games. You just need to play football the way it was designed to play. And that's behind a decent offensive line. Yeah, I cannot sign in, but I'm signed in on my phone. I cannot sign in on my computer.
Yeah, I'm in.
It doesn't make any sense. It keeps saying there's an error. But I'm on my phone.
Strange.
It is weird. All right, let's see what else is on the list today. Okay. Top 10 quarterbacks. You guys tell us in the comments below, obviously in the chat right now, who's your top 10 quarterbacks? Where does Jared Goff belong? I still say Jared is at least top 6 in this list, at least top 6 for me. I could make an argument for him to be a top 5 all day. Next up, we're going to talk about Teddy Bridgewater. Now, there's been some conversation on whether Teddy B is going to come back and play for the Detroit Lions this year, and that answer is no. He is not. He's going to be the head coach of his team, or he was until yesterday. Apparently, Teddy Bridgewater has been suspended from his position at Miami Northwestern. According to the report, the suspension is kind of convoluted, and it kind of points back to what used to happen in the college ranks before NIL money came to be, right? And that's coaches or others paying for things that you're not supposed to pay for the athletes. So here's the quote. The suspension came from Miami Northwestern, and it's possible to suspend someone who doesn't work for you No, I'm sorry. Let me rephrase all that. It says the suspension came from Miami Northwestern, and it's impossible to suspend someone who doesn't work for you. So if I'm suspended from Miami Northwestern, I'm free to go to another school of my choice, but I'm going nowhere. That was Teddy Bridgewater's response. According to the report, though, what has happened is Teddy Bridgewater was suspended apparently for paying for kids' Uber rides, food, some lunches, some pocket money, whatever you want to call it. Very simple stuff. Taking care of some things for these kids because no donations were coming in. He's been asking for donations. He's been asking to get things taken care of so these kids have what they need to play. These guys just won a championship last year.
Yep.
And you're telling me that this team is not supported enough and that you're going to screw around with your coach? Did he violate some rules? I don't have enough information this morning to say whether he did or he didn't violate any rules. But this doesn't mean that he's coming back to Detroit either. Teddy Bridgewater said under no certain terms that he will stay as a volunteer. Even if he's going to be removed as the head coach, he's going to stay as a volunteer. I don't quite understand why they're screwing around with the guy, but according to an earlier Facebook post this in the last month, he paid for Uber rides, meals, and recovery services for his players last season. So he asked fans to donate to help cover such expenses this year. I can't imagine that there's a lot of high school teams out there doing recovery, like they are, right? I'm sure he's probably trying to do it like an NFL team. But giving these kids a good experience, and this is not in a wealthy area. Like these kids don't have a ton of money. Their parents don't have a ton of money. I wouldn't say as far as destitute, but it is not an area that is able to provide enough for these kids. And so what Teddy B is doing, I don't see anything wrong with it. If he's donating, maybe he just needs to do it another way. Maybe he just needs to send that money to the school through the proper chambers, and it kind of gets back to him to be able to utilize. Maybe he just did it the wrong way. But taking care of kids, man, I don't see anything wrong with that. I really don't. So
I don't either. And listen, if I was a local business or if I'm a parent of one of the children and I donate to the football team, does that get me suspended? I mean,
yeah, right.
Basically, all he's doing is paying for a kid's Uber ride to go home after practice, And I was just on Twitter and I looked up, and Kirby Joseph just posted about this suspension, and he wrote, "Somebody give me the details on who suspended him. Was it the school? Was it the county? Was it the state? I want to know. I think people want to know too."
Well, Kirby, if you're listening this morning, it was the school. So the school is who posted him, or I'm sorry, who posted him. The school is who suspended him. Again, I don't have all of the information as far as where did it stem from. Did it stem from the county? Did it stem from the board? I have no idea. But I would have to say that the school board has to be involved in something of this nature. But I'm not going to speculate much further. I think it's foolish. I absolutely think it's foolish. So I still can't sign into Twitter. This is ridiculous. Well, I'm not going to be able to play that video. Anyway. Okay. Riley, thoughts on Teddy B's suspension here?
Yeah, I didn't see a ton. I saw Kirby's tweets about the whole thing. And if I'm not mistaken, it was a situation where he was just paying all this out of pocket. But you hate to see stuff like this, man. Like, it kind of gets back to, is this really about the kids? Or should be, right? Should be about the kids. How does he get punished for this? But tip of the hat to Teddy, man. He's younger than I am, and he's could still be playing pro football, still making a pro football quarterback's salary, but instead he's doing this. But yeah, I didn't see a ton of it. But you hate to see it for sure for Teddy. He's just trying to coach his team, and I think he won a state championship with him too.
Just last year.
So good on Teddy Bridgewater. Keep doing what you're doing, man.
I like the comment by Mike P. And Mike P is a former football coach. The Teddy situation is another example of a coach doing his job. Sad what was done to him and his team.
Exactly, Mike P. And good morning, buddy. Hope Mrs. P is doing good this morning. You know, you got all my love and support, man. If you ever need anything, I'm just 25 minutes north of you, buddy. What's next? What's next on the list? We are getting close, man. It is 8:45, and we've got tickets to get today. So if you guys have not figured out how to get tickets this morning, so make sure you sign up for a Ticketmaster account with the Detroit Lions. You can sign up. Let me see if I can get you the... Actually, you can download the app, too. Download the app to your phone. But if you type in Detroit Lions Ticketmaster on your Google machine, it'll pull up, obviously, Ticketmaster, where you can then sign in or register for an account. Now, you will have to log in this morning and get into the queue to be able to get tickets. It will go fast, and there will be 30,000 people in that queue within the first 60 seconds. So sometimes they open it up early, even though it says 10 a.m. It might get released at 9:55. So you need to be ready and make sure that you get your tickets this morning. All right, let's get into the NFC North report. I think that's what's next.
All right.
I'm trying to get my sheet open out. Yeah, so NFC North report is next today. We just have one item in it this morning, and that is about the Packers coach, Matt LaFleur. Eric, I guess walk us through, well, is there other coaches' rankings in here? Eric?
What do you mean?
Is there the other coaches' rankings in here, all the coaches, or no?
It was like a top 10 list. Where the heck did it go?
I see the corner. It says cornerbacks coach rankings.
No. It's got the full coach list on there. So in the first article, in the first link that I have there, that's just talking about Matt LaFleur, how he fell from number 5 last year down to number 8 this year. And then in the link, the second link, that is for the actual list.
Yeah, it says cornerbacks, CB. Oh, link to CBS. Is that CBS?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, sports.
Not cornerbacks. Yeah, I'm thinking that's cornerbacks.
Yeah.
Okay,
so,
go ahead. So let's walk us through the coaches' rankings. I guess Riley, who came in at number 10?
Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers.
All right. Now, Eric, where would you like to go with this? And we'll save Dan Campbell, I guess, for towards the end here. But who's up next? Who came in at number 9?
Yeah. So number 9 is last year's Coach of the Year, Kevin O'Connell, for the Minnesota Vikings, who went 14-3 last year. And if you notice, unlike the quarterback rankings, your MVP is not way up high on this list. So in the quarterbacks list, they put the MVP, who was Josh Allen, at number 2. Here we have Kevin O'Connell at number 9.
So you can be a quarterback like Jared Goff and lead the number 1 offense, and you're only the 8th best quarterback in the NFL. You can win Coach of the Year, but you're only the 9th best coach in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
I find it funny. Yesterday, I did the Tate Ratledge holdout situation, and there's a lot of more creators now jumping on the bandwagon, putting this information out. But where you heard it first.
That happens a lot. Dan Campbell talking about maybe leaving Detroit on a Dallas station. Kind of coincidental.
Yeah, and then the week before, I put out a news, a story about could he leave to Dallas. Mm-hmm. Big shout out to Robbie Ones this morning. $5. Is that Canadian cash? It says CA. Looks like Canadian cash coming in this morning. It's probably worth more than American money at this point. Dan Campbell is one of 3 coaches to choose from on Madden this year's player development specialist. I don't play Madden, but you know what? I think I might get it this year. I think I haven't played in so many years, so I probably won't have a clue as to what I'm doing, but I'll still take you on without a doubt. Robbie Ones, we should host a little Madden tournament or something just to have fun.
Oh, I'm down.
All right, so Mike Tomlin's at 10, Kevin O'Connell's at 9. We'll go Kyle Shanahan at 7.
Mm-hmm.
Riley, who's at 6?
Jim Harbaugh. Who's got it better than us? Well, about 5 other coaches, according to this list.
All right, so who's at number 1, Eric?
Number 1 is Andy Reid for like the fourth straight year. Kansas City's Andy Reid was ranked as the number 1 coach in the NFL.
Does he belong there? I think he does.
I do too. The things he did when he was with the Eagles, and then for some god-awful reason, the Eagles thought they needed to do something different. And they let him go to the Chiefs instead. Yeah, Andy Reid is going to go down as one of the best coaches to ever coach in the NFL.
I was going to say something, but I'll just say this. How many Super Bowls do you think the Eagles would have had by now had they not moved away from Andy Reid?
3 or 4.
Yeah. I think that it would have been a very similar situation. I don't think that Patty Mahomes is the only answer. I don't think that that's the only reason why the Chiefs have won Super Bowls. I think it's the entire team. And I think that Andy Reid especially is he's probably also on there as player development, I would assume. But one of the better coaches in the league to be able to develop players. And I think that's exactly why you're seeing what he's doing. No matter where he goes, he's been successful.
Yep.
I think they made a huge mistake. All right, next up at number 2 is Sean McVay. Now, this one doesn't make a lick of sense for me. Okay, he won a Super Bowl in 2021. He's been a pretty hot coach in the very beginning of his tenure in LA, but what has he really done? What has he done since the Super Bowl? Nothing. He went to the playoffs in 2023 and got his ass kicked in Detroit. They went to the playoffs last year, and didn't they exit in the first round too?
Up to the Eagles.
To the Eagles. So I don't understand how he's at number 2.
Because they gave the Eagles a run for their money.
What was that, Riley?
I think it wasn't the first round. It was wasn't it the semi? I felt like if the Rams had won, they were going to the NFC Championship.
No, it was the wild card round.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, the NFC Championship, that's the game before the Super Bowl. So the Lions were in the divisional round, which is round 2. The NFC Championship is after that game. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm just, my memories. I promise I'm not doing a football show without knowing the very basics of how the set up. It's just my memory. But yeah, McVay's a great coach, but I mean, it's just interesting how, again, it's almost a little bit like the Los Angeles thing gets you at least a spot in the top 10 and guaranteed. He's an awesome coach. I wouldn't trade him for Dan Campbell. Straight across, I wouldn't.
I wouldn't either. So at number 3, we have John Harbaugh. And then at number 4, it's Nick Sirianni with the Eagles. Okay, so they won the Super Bowl last year, but is Nick Sirianni better than all of the other coaches behind him on this list?
Well, didn't Nick Sirianni do it with a new defensive coordinator and a new offensive coordinator?
We had new defensive coordinator, new offensive coordinator in 2023, and a new offensive coordinator in 2024. So yeah, back-to-back years where they're struggling, trying to keep guys in, and that's not a bad thing, right? That's a good thing. Well, let's just cut through the cheese, man. Let's just cut through the cheese. Matt LaFleur's at number 8, and we were just talking about him a minute ago, right? Him sliding in this list. Was he ever near the top? How did he slide in the rankings? Eric, walk us through that, and then let's talk about Dan Campbell.
Yeah, so last year he was number 5 on the list. And according to this writer from the Packers, he is all upset because Matt LaFleur dropped 3 spots after getting 3rd place in the division and a first round exit in the playoffs once again. So you were right, Riley. The first round of the playoffs was the Packers and the Packers and the Eagles, and then the Eagles played the Rams in the divisional game, so they wouldn't meet to the NFC Championship game had they won. Yeah, so you're right.
Yeah, I thought my memory, because the Rams beat the Vikings in the first round. So had they beaten Philadelphia, which they're marching, they're making that drive, and if they get a touchdown, they're playing Washington at SoFi Stadium for a chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Well, the Rams were in the divisional round last year.
Yeah, they beat Minnesota. They had to play in Arizona Stadium.
Yeah. Yep. The first game.
So the Rams were very close last year to another Super Bowl appearance, or at least and then we saw, I think they probably could have beaten Washington in the NFC Championship. But at either rate, I mean, if we look at the list here and we say Sirianni at 4, would they have flipped 4 and 5 if the Lions had gone to the Super Bowl last year? Certainly if they'd won the Super Bowl, I think that they would have. Now we're talking about having the top 4 coach.
Yeah, so Matt LaFleur at 8. Dan Campbell is where, Eric?
Number 5.
I'll be right back.
So isn't that incredible that Dan Campbell moved all the way up to number 5? And I don't know where he was on last year's list. I did not look that up. But it's pretty incredible to see that Dan Campbell's actually getting a little bit of love. He went 15-2. He's had an incredible record the last 3 years. He went from just barely missing the playoffs to the NFC Championship game to the divisional round. That's some pretty good consistency, and Dan Campbell is a first-time head coach, being a full-time head coach and not an interim. So he's had to learn the first couple of years. So only being a 4th-year coach, now a 5th-year coach, awesome job by Dan Campbell.
Yeah, the trajectory has been remarkable and what he's done with this team. And then listening to the show yesterday, the Fight Club story, hearing every time one of these main media sources have a Dan Campbell on, you just hear the respect, the admiration that they have for him. It's awesome, man. There's no telling me. I remember some buddies texting me and just putting LOL and laughing when the Lions hired Dan Campbell because they were supposed to be trying to get, Arthur Smith, I think the guy that went to the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like, man, they really had to settle. And then they trade Stafford. And man, you're getting the dump off of Jared Goff. And it's just crazy, man. You couldn't have convinced me at that time that you were about, 3-4 years away from having that coach would be a top 5 coach on any ranking, but certainly something like a CBS Sports top 5 is a pretty good spot.
Yeah. I remember as a Lions fan when Wisenhunt was available and he had done an interview with the Lions and I was wanting him so bad. And then we end up with this Dan Campbell guy. And I'm like, who? Who's this guy? And
the other big name at the time was Robert Salah. And I know, Eric, because I've listened to all of the shows since I found Rocked On. Yeah. You were never a big guy, Salah guy. Didn't want him in Detroit.
I did not like Salah from the very beginning. And I don't know, just from afar, I never cared for his I don't know, the way he carries himself and everything, just nothing personal, just some people just rub me the wrong way, I guess. Yeah. And he's one of them people, if I met him in real life, I don't know as I would get along with him. One of them people that just for some reason
I think that's what defensive coordinators are like, though, man. They have this outward expression of just gruff, rough attitude. But I think Robert Saleh I think he's a really good coach. I'm surprised that he's kind of bounced around a little bit. I think the Jets probably made a big mistake moving off of him. Obviously, they have Aaron Glenn now, which I think was the best thing for them, obviously. Yep. But so anyway, do us a quick favor this morning. We got about 37 or 40 likes, it looks like. Let's try to get that up to 70-ish. We got about 75 people in watching the show this morning. So if you wouldn't mind, please getting those likes up. And then if you haven't subscribed, please do us a huge favor and subscribe this morning. We have training camp jackets that we're giving away. And then also every year we do training camp tickets and then mini helmets or something. I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to do yet. But we will turn off ads. So you don't have to worry about ads when you come in and watch the show. As long as you get the like up to a certain level, we'll start to turn ads off. We do that all year. Costs us about $6,000 that we can't put towards the Rockhound Cancer Foundation of doing that. So if you want to deal with the ads, you just don't like the show. If you want the ads off, you'll like the show. That obviously helps us, man. It helps the algorithm. And then if you haven't subscribed, I'd like to know why, because we do this each and every day. It's a lot of time out of our days. And we put forth a lot of effort to make sure we get you guys the great information that's happening with your Lions and around the NFL. And then come the season, man, it's like 90-10. It's 90 Lions, 10% NFL. We're almost out of the off season, man. Tomorrow begins training camp. I know I'm super excited again for another season. I know you guys are. But we're here, man. We've made it. Once training camp hits, it seems like we're going to blink one more time, and we're going to be in Lambeau watching the Lions take on the Packers. Dan Campbell at number 5. Where was he last year?
See, that I don't know. I could not find that.
So they didn't. So again, this is an epic failure by John Breach. He should have posted last year's ranking with this year's ranking. He should have put where they were last year compared to this year. Now, this is not NFL's ranking, right? This is CBS Sports ranking, correct?
Yes.
So this is just his take, which we know what opinions are like. Everyone has one. So just like me, I have a lot of opinions, but we try to base everything as much as we can around fact. And I think that's also why we tend to get some things right on this show is we don't stray too far off into the weeds with all of the what if and conspiracy theories and all that stuff. We try to stick to the hardline information and flush it out with good research. So I think Dan Campbell's a top 5 coach. I would say that, okay, he's not ahead of Nick Sirianni because he hasn't won a Super Bowl. John Harbaugh also won a Super Bowl, right? Or no, he lost to his brother, didn't he?
He won one.
Did he win one? Baltimore?
He won one and lost one.
Again. Yeah.
So he's not ahead of him. Sean McVay won a Super Bowl and Andy Reid won a Super Bowl. So I couldn't put Dan Campbell ahead of them simply because of that.
That's a great point, Will. All of the coaches ahead of him, what do they all have in common? What did you just say? Every one of them.
Yeah, everyone has had a Super Bowl.
So that's a pretty good spot. I mean, we can critique and be upset about having Goff at 8, but I'll tell you, Dan Campbell at 5, and the only people ahead of him are people that have been to, and all those guys I think have been to not just one Super Bowl, they've been to multiple, and all of them have won at least one of them. So Campbell's got the respect, I think, although he should have won Coach of the Year last year, but neither here nor there.
I think it's kind of funny that McConnell or O'Connell, wins Coach of the Year last year, and then he drops all the way to what, 8?
9.
9 on the list. So that's kind of odd. He didn't deserve it last year anyway.
No.
All right, so next up, we're going to be talking about Jameson Williams' major contract. But we missed our heart out at 9 o'clock. We'll be right back here for 15 seconds. I've always wanted to say this for station identification. Just kidding. I can't open up my screen. It's not. There it goes. Got technical issues today, man. I'm down one screen too. Hold on. Here we go. Almost there. All right, so like I was just saying a few moments ago, if you guys would do us a huge favor, like the stream, subscribe if you haven't already. I do want to hand out, I got like 16 training camp jackets that I purchased that I want to give away. And I want to send them to you. So do us a favor, like the stream, subscribe today. The new subscribers are going to get a chance at getting some of these jackets. I might raffle some off. I might just give some away. But training camp tickets. If you guys want training camp tickets and you didn't get any, we'll make sure that we have some for you today. But become a member today. Even at the lowest tier, you're going to have a shot at members-only ticket giveaway. And then for the rest of the new subscribers, we're also going to do something special for you guys too. And then, of course, the loyalty crew. If you're already a member or a mod, of course, you'll have first shot at getting some of these things too. So there's perks to this. But the biggest perk is that you're a Detroit Lions fan, and I appreciate you. So I appreciate you guys being in here each and every day. We wouldn't be doing this without you guys. Okay. Jameson Williams, man. A lot of conversation this offseason that he was going to get an extension. I expected the 5-year or the 5th-year option. I expected that to get picked up. I expected that to be picked up before any conversation about an extension would be had. We walked through this about a month ago. We kind of went through, Riley, hopefully you got all the contracts open. we walked through all of the top contracts for second fiddle receivers. And I guess the one that we most recently pointed at was, oh my goodness, T. Higgins. And his contract was what, Riley?
T. Higgins. So I just have what he's making this coming season.
It should be an average APY.
Okay, he's a top 10. He's making over 28 million, but let me get the APY real quick.
So the APY is 28.75. That's his APY. It's on over the cap.
Got it. I'm on Spot Track. My bad.
Yeah. So over the cap has T. Higgins as roughly the 9th or 8th most paid wide receiver in the league right now, which is a ton of money, for this season. He got a contract that was $115 million over 4 seasons. And yesterday or this morning, it broke that Garrett Wilson got how much, Eric?
He got $130 million for 4 years with $90 million guaranteed, making it a $32.5 million per year salary.
So he broke the bank by $15 million over T. Higgins as far as being the second fiddle. Now, is Garrett Wilson the number 1 for the Jets? Yeah, I would say he is.
Yes.
So that's a number 1 contract on that team. So I don't know if that contract really resonates with the Jameson Williams conversation. Only because if you're looking at these players from the perspective of who would they be on their next team? Would Jameson Williams be a number 1 if he was traded? I guess it would depend on which team he goes to. But I guess when I look at a number 1 wide receiver, I'm looking at a guy that can be a leader of my team. If I'm going to pay a guy $150 million or $140 million a year, whatever it is, I want to see this guy be a leader. Is Jameson Williams a leader yet? I would say no. I think he's great at what he does so far, but I wouldn't say that he's leading a wide receiver room right now. That's Amon-Ra St. Brown. Doesn't mean that he can't have that opportunity, but there's just something about him. I just don't know if he's going to become a leader per se. I think he's kind of always in that group of there's someone ahead of him leading the group, leading the charge, and he's going to do his job. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And see, I don't know him from Adam, right? So, I mean, I don't know him, personally outside of covering, what he does as an NFL football player, but he's not a captain, and he's definitely not number 1 on this team as far as wide receiver. So let's walk this out. Does the Garrett Wilson contract affect Jameson Williams? Eric, tell us what you prepared today for this conversation, and then we'll all talk about it in just a moment.
Yeah, so I think it does. I think this really affects his contract in a major way, and this is why. Garrett Wilson 3 years ago in 2022 was taken number 10 overall. 2 spots later, Jameson Williams was taken by the Detroit Lions. So they are from the same draft class, and they are 2 spots apart in the first round. So Jameson Williams, just because of that, is going to want similar money. Now, Jameson Williams was hurt his first season. And then his second season, he had a suspension. And then his third season, he had a 2-game suspension. But in his third year, he finally broke 1,000 yards. Garrett Wilson, on the other hand, all 3 of his seasons, he has had at least 1,042 yards. So his first season, he had 1,103 yards. Then he had 1,042 in 2023, and last year he had 1,104. Now his total touchdowns for all 3 seasons is 14. If you look at Jameson Williams' total touchdowns for all 3 seasons, he has 10. So he has 10 he has played in 27 27, 33 games. So Jameson Williams has played in 33 games and has 10 touchdowns. Garrett Wilson has played in all 17 games for all 3 seasons. So that's 51 games and only has 14 touchdowns. So that is the reason I think that JMO is going to ask for the same or similar money that Garrett Wilson is getting.
Okay, before I'm going to push against that pretty hard, and you'll find out why.
Oh yeah,
Riley, what do you think?
Yeah, my thought is that I don't know that that's necessarily going to be his thought process, because I don't know that Jameson Williams wants to be a number 1 receiver. Certainly he wants to be. He's a star player. He's got swagger. He's confident. He wants to win. He wants to do all the right things. I don't know that he wants the responsibility and the burden of being the guy, the number 1 leader. I could be wrong on that, but that's my read on the situation. I think he obviously wants to get a high, as much as he can, make every dollar as he can. But if that means going and being the number 1, the best receiver on a worse team, I don't know that Jameson Williams wants that. I think he would take a little bit less to stay in Detroit and keep his role. You got Laporta, you got St. Brown, and then let him just go do his thing. So I think I'm going to go a different route on it. I think he's going to be willing to take a little bit less and then say, somebody else, you got the burden of being the guy, the leader, the number 1.
Okay, so I guess what I'm looking for is, do you think that what Jameson Williams has done so far compared to Garrett Wilson is meaningful, as far as you could, if you compare both of these guys, does that mean that JMO should earn that kind of money that Garrett Wilson got, because touchdowns or not? So what was the touchdown numbers? JMO has 10 in 3 seasons and Garrett Wilson has 14. So here's why I think what Garrett Wilson has done in the league might be far and away better than what Jameson Williams has done. My number 1 argument is this. JMO has had 1 consistent quarterback since he's been in the league. 1. And I would say that Jared Goff is a pretty damn good quarterback. I mean, he has turned Amon-Ra St. Brown into one of the league's best. And I say turned into, it's a partnership, but without Jared Goff, we probably don't have Amon-Ra St. Brown right now. You have no idea what Amon-Ra St. Brown would have been on another team as a 5th-round draft pick, and if he would have ever cracked the roster, if he would have ever gotten ahead of a couple of guys to be able to make the statement that he made at the end of 2021. So, and leading into 2022. Garrett Wilson had Zach Wilson as a quarterback, Mike White as a quarterback, Joe Flacco, Trevor Siemian, Tim Boyle, and then lastly, Aaron Rodgers. So when you look at what Garrett Wilson has had to deal with, and the fact that he's put up over 1,000 yards every single season, that's pretty damn impressive. Yes. Now, this year he's going to have Justin Fields, and I think his year is going to take off as long as Justin Fields is being developed correctly, which I think he will be. But Garrett Wilson put up over 1,000 yards in every season, averaging more than 10 yards a catch in every season, has had at least 3 touchdowns in every season. Compared to what Jameson Williams has had to deal with, I think that Garrett Wilson has had a tougher road to haul, man. I mean, I think that what he has done has been on his shoulders, right? I mean, that's Garrett putting himself in a position to win. JMO just has to run the right route. That's all he needs to do. He has to show up, be healthy, ready to go, know the playbook, and run the right route. Because you have guys like Amon-Ra St. Brown that can pull, targets away, from, or pull, the cornerbacks and the safeties away from you, pull away the protection, I guess is what I should say. You have Sam Laporta that can do the same thing. You have 2 running backs that can do it. There's multiple guys on the Detroit Lions team as a top 5 offense with probably the most elite football players on any offense in the league right now that can pull all of the protection away from you and give you an opportunity to get free. Garrett Wilson doesn't have that. He's never had that. So I would say that what you're seeing Garrett Wilson do is pretty impressive. He's never had a consistent quarterback. And what he had to deal with Aaron Rodgers, my God. I don't even know how he still put up 1,000 yards. So I would say that he's earned every bit of that contract. And here's the last thing I'll say about it. The Lions can't afford to pay J-Mo $30 million a year and Amon-Ra St. Brown $30 million a year. It's the same argument that we've had with defensive ends. It's the same argument, that we're going to have with every position on this team. I don't even know how they're going to pull off Brian Branch next year with Kirby. We might sacrifice one, or we might see some very weird contracts. If the Lions win the Super Bowl this year, then I think everything's on the table at that point. If we win a Super Bowl, then yeah, we could probably lose some players because they don't want to pay them. They want to keep on keeping on, right? They want to keep with the same, keep the players young, the cap healthy, and be able to, roulette these players in every year to manage the cap. If we don't win a Super Bowl, I think we're kind of up against the clock as far as how significant it will be for Brad Holmes to structure these contracts for either now or later. And at some point, it's all going to come together. We're going to have a tipping point. And that's when things can blow up in your face. So I think it's all hinging on whether we win a Super Bowl or not this year as to what's going to happen with the future of the team and the players that need contracts. So that's my argument, Eric. Now what do you think?
Yeah, well, you have to remember, every time a quarterback gets signed, they end up being the highest paid quarterback or the highest paid receiver.
Yeah, the market's reset quite a bit.
Yes, and it doesn't necessarily mean that player is the best at their position, because if you look right now at the highest paid quarterback in the league, it's Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott wasn't even in our top 10 list that we went over for quarterbacks today, yet he is the highest paid quarterback in the league. But
it's only $60 million though. I mean, you're talking $5 million more than Joe Burrow, $5 million more than Josh Allen, and it's just because of the way that his contract is lining up. When you look at the total of his contract,
yep,
it's not that crazy compared to everybody else. So have that same argument next year for Jared Goff. Jared Goff's going to make $70 million next year.
Yes.
And he's never sniffed top 5 from any ranking from anybody. So I think we could have that same argument for him too, that he's not ranked as the best quarterback in the NFL, but he's going to be the highest paid in the league next year.
But he was top 5 in MVP voting.
Okay. I mean, that's 1 year. You know what I mean? I think that we have to look at it from the perspective of, at least for me, I look at it from the perspective of, to your argument, these guys weren't anywhere near the top 10 list. Like Dak Prescott, well, based on his salary, $60 million, being outside the top 10, Jared Goff is in the top 10, but he's going to make $70 million. So now he should be the number 1 quarterback ranked, to your argument, right? He should be the number 1 quarterback if you're making the most money. Is that your argument, or am I getting it wrong?
Yeah, I'm just saying, just because you make the most money doesn't mean you're the best. And yesterday, when Brad Holmes opened up his phone and he saw that Garrett Wilson got $130 million for 4 seasons, his heart had to have sank. That the market got reset again.
Well, I think it's going to continue to get reset for some of the better football players in the league. I mean, what Garrett Wilson is. Matter of fact, let's look at their depth chart real quick. And I know we're running up against the clock here, so take a look at the list if there's anything that we absolutely have to get to.
Nah, I really like this subject about Jameson Williams though, because like we said yesterday on the show, my breakout player for this year was Sione Vaki and Jameson Williams. That was my 2 breakout players for this year that I think are absolutely going to come on. I think that J-Mo is going to possibly outdo St. Brown for yardage this year. He might do it with less catches and have more yards and maybe even the same or more touchdowns than Amon-Ra. What would you say if J-Mo came out this year and had 1,498 yards and 17 touchdowns?
I'll wait and see if it happens before I react to it, because I couldn't react to it right now.
Yeah, how are we going to pay him then?
Well, it's going to be the same. The numbers don't go up because of your stats.
Yeah, but
I think it's reset. So going back to the depth chart, the reason why Garrett Wilson is getting paid is because he is the number one on the team. He's got Josh Reynolds and Alan Lazard as your other two top receivers. You have Malachi Corley, Arian Smith, Tyler Johnson, Xavier Gibson, Irvin Charles, a bunch of no names.
Yep.
So even past the top three in New York, you have a bunch of no names outside of Malachi Corley. So that's why he's getting paid, because you need to keep the guy in New York. He is the number one for that team. And obviously New York is planning on building around him. And he's had really good success with 7 quarterbacks in 3 years. That's what's crazy, is 7 quarterbacks in 3 years, and he's putting up that kind of numbers. So what that tells me is his play has not dropped off. When a quarterback gets injured and another quarterback comes in, he still does Garrett Wilson things. What do you think's going to happen? I don't even want to say this, but what if there was a different quarterback and it wasn't Jared Goff for a couple of games? Is J-Mo going to have the same significance within the offensive line? I don't think he will. I don't think that he's going to be targeted the same, and I don't think that he's going to be as impressive because his number one quarterback is not there. So I think that when you look at adversity and you're looking at how a player can respond to adversity, having 7 quarterbacks in 3 years, that's a pretty adverse situation. The way that Garrett Wilson responded was, I'm going to continue to do what I've done every single game, which is succeed, run the right routes, put myself in a position to win. We have yet to see that out of J-Mo because it hasn't happened yet. So the question would stand, would he be able to have the same success with a different quarterback?
Depends on the quarterback.
And I think that's what separates these players. So Riley, give us your thoughts here on this whole argument now that I've spoken about the quarterback situation.
Yeah, I think it's a sentient point. I think it's really good. I look at the thing I admire about J-Mo is that I always think of that quote he had last offseason where he said the team was winning and I hadn't even really done anything yet. You'd love to hear that from the guy, but I look at it, there's an argument to be made. Is it easier to put up stats on a bad team? The Jets have gone 5-12, 7-10, 7-10 every year since he's been in the league. Somebody's got to get some stats. Somebody's got to get some account for some yardage, right? I think Garrett Wilson's a really good player. The thing I love about Jameson Williams is he had to kind of find his footing on a team that was already good, and he didn't disrupt the flow. And so I think, look, I love what Jameson is, what he brings to this offense. It's an interesting thought. You know, God forbid if we ever had to go to a second backup quarterback, if Hooker ever gets in there, it is an interesting thought exercise to think and consider what would Jameson's game look like then. I could kind of see that, where you might think, man, is he even on the field? You see him running, but they don't ever target him. It feels like that happens a lot. It took a while for him and Goff to get that connection. But, yeah, I think going to be interesting to see, man. There's going to come a cost. We all want to win the Super Bowl this year, but if it costs some players going forward. But that's just how it works in the NFL, right? It's just is what it is. It's the nature of the beast. But I'm excited for the season. And Jameson Williams, I love him, man.
So, you guys, if you had to put a percentage on it, after this season, what do you think the percentage is that J-Mo gets traded after this season because we can't afford him and he'd be going into his final season on his 5th-year option?
Go ahead, Riley.
That's a good question, because if he has a really good year and then prices himself out, well, certainly they're not going to want to let him go. And if he doesn't have a good year and you're just moving on from him, are you going to get enough value back to make it worth it?
So what was the question, Eric?
So put a percentage on it that J-Mo gets traded after this season.
Do we win a Super Bowl or not?
That's not part of the equation. Just if he has a really good season.
I'm going to say like 30%.
A good enough season that he prices himself out of being able to stay in Detroit.
Well, he's already priced out. I mean, so that I think that's the conversation is,
yeah.
Okay, what's the floor for J-Mo? You know, if I go back to the top wide receiver contracts in the league right now, Okay, we did this exercise a few weeks ago where we looked at, essentially the number twos on, the best number twos in the league and what they were being paid. And the bottom dollars is, it's no less than $15 million a year. It's no less than that. But I think that if you're looking at the current rate for a number two that, okay, where did J-Mo rank last year? Does anybody have any idea where, as I don't remember, where did he rank out of all wide receivers for all stats?
I don't know.
Is he a top 20, a top 15, a top 10? I think that's the numbers that we need to look at. And he's only done it for 1 year. And that's the other thing. We need to see it this year. So if he does it back-to-back years where he has 1,000+ yards, and at least 7+ TDs, I don't care about the number of catches because J-Mo has so much yak that none of that really matters. I think we need to see 1,000+, 7+, and that he plays in every game, that he stays healthy, doesn't get suspended, right? Doesn't do any stupid shit on the field where he's getting 15-yard penalties. Justin Jefferson's cap number this year is $15 million, but that's not his number, right? That's not how much he's getting. That's not his overall number. His extension is yet to hit. Like Amon-Ra St. Brown's only making 13.9 this year, but that's not his number, right? His number's 30 million. I guess where I'm going with this is T. Higgins, the floor for me for a number two that is as good as J-Mo, who I would say is as good or better than T. Higgins, is $24 million a year. That's the number. So anything north of that doesn't matter because they can't even afford $24 million. You can't pay two receivers $60 million a year. You just can't. Even if the cap is $300 million next year, that is 1/5 of the cap for two players. And then you add Jared Goff in there at $70 million. That's 55% of the cap to three players.
Wow.
And then you pay Brian Branch.
Right. Sam Laporta, Jared Goff, Jameson Williams, Aiden Hutchinson, $40 million a year. The list goes on.
You might be above 50%. It sounds that Jameson might be getting traded next season.
I would say if Jameson's number is more than $16 million a year, he's gone.
So if Isaac Tesla puts up 600 yards and 6 touchdowns, is J-Mo gone next year?
Say the numbers again.
600 yards and 6 touchdowns.
Wow. All right, so we're getting deep off in the weeds now. Here's what I'll say. Well, and we are because Jared Goff spreads the ball out to everybody. And now, we had 4 players last year that had 1,000+ and 10+ TDs. So that should tell you right there that it is really hard to get a bunch of stats on this team when 4 players are, 80% of your offense. Well, let me take that back. 6 players are like 90% of your offense. David Montgomery, Jahmyr Gibbs, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, and Sam Laporta. Those 5 players are probably 85% of your yards last year, just without factual numbers. That's not a fact. That's an educated guess, and I'm pretty close. It's really hard to get stats on a team as a 4th or 5th look that Isaac Tesla will be. You have to imagine you got Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams, Tim Patrick, Khalif Raymond, then Isaac Tesla. So he's probably the 5th or the 6th look right now. Until we see what happens in training camp, we don't know. We have no idea. So now that we're deep into the weeds here, I will say Isaac Tesla is the future. We know that. That's why they brought him in. But I think he's the future for Tim Patrick. I wouldn't say he's necessarily the future for J-Mo. I think that Dominic Lovett, who is not a direct Jameson Williams comparison, his speed is there. So if you're looking for a speed guy to replace J-Mo, Isaac Tesla is pretty fast too. But Dominic Lovett is a speedster. That guy can return punts, kicks. So he's probably the replacement for Khalif Raymond. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Jackson Meeks, we haven't even really talked about him. We need to see what he's going to do this year. I don't remember his 40 time, but he could be a replacement if he's any good. Or the Lions draft another receiver, because we know that there's a ton of receivers in every draft, and it's easier to find a receiver with speed than it is to find any other position, right? It's easier to find a good receiver. It's an interesting conversation. I would say that no matter what Isaac TeSlaa does this year, I don't think that really has a factor into Jameson's contract. I think the factor is the numbers.
Yeah.
That's it. It's just the numbers.
Could the Lions play hardball and say, we're not giving you a new contract. You're playing your 4th year and you're playing your 5th year. Sit out if you want to, but we're paying you. You're signed for 5 years. They could do that.
Well, and they could also franchise tag him. So I don't have the numbers for franchise tag, but I would say that the franchise tag is probably going to be pretty close to $25 million if you take the top 5 contracts in the league. That's just a guess. Are you looking it up, Riley?
Yes.
This is not a day to have issues, man. Like, I got issues. For some reason, I couldn't log into Twitter, and I have no idea why.
Yeah, wide receiver franchise tag number is just a hair under 24 million.
There you go. It's a good solid guess. So that's this year. Those numbers are going up.
Yep.
So if it's 25 million, you got to franchise tag him. That won't be till 2026 or 2027, excuse me, because he's signed through 2025 or 2026.
Yep.
And so is Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson is signed through 2026. You don't have to do anything with his contract if you really don't want to. It'll be interesting to see what the Lions do. Do they finally use a transition tag or a franchise tag in 2027? They don't need to next year unless it's with Brian Branch or Sam Laporta. What other second round picks, third round picks do we have? I think that's it.
Jack Campbell.
Who?
Oh, Jack Campbell.
He's a first round pick.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
All right, big shout out to Mike P for the $10 super chat. Sorry, buddy, it took me a minute to get to it. This is a very interesting conversation. How does Garrett Wilson's contract affect Jameson Williams? Number one, I would love to know in the comments below. Number two, like Eric asked, do you think that there's a possibility that JMO gets traded ahead of next season? Does Isaac TeSlaa have any bearing on Jameson's future? I don't think so. Bradley, did we get your answer on that? Do you think that Isaac TeSlaa has anything to do with this?
I don't think so necessarily. And I think it was when Eric first said it, my, cogs start turning, but I think your explanation was pretty convincing on it. I don't know that it necessarily reflects him because they're just totally different players. If you move on from Jameson next year, I think it's a dollar amount. That's the reason. And you'd be drafting a replacement.
So good statement here in the chat by Robbie Ones. Says we need to re-sign, I think, him as JMO. He says Sutton had a career year last year with Morton. JMO is more gifted. Morton will call deep shots. I predict 1,600 plus yards. Wow. And 17 TDs. We should hope to re-sign him for 24 to 27 million. And just so you know, re-sign has a dash, resign versus re-sign. Are you plugged in this morning, Riley?
I am.
You're all glitched out. Yeah. And that I've got this new system here where I'm trying to multi-stream. All right, it's 9:35. Eric, what did you learn today, man? What did we learn?
Well, I learned that things are getting complicated for JMO. I learned that Matt LaFleur is not as good as he used to be. And
was he ever good?
I learned that Teddy Bridgewater has a big heart for a bunch of high school kids, and it got him in a little bit of trouble.
The big heart, man. I think that's a great statement, dude. I mean, like Teddy B is. I've listened to some podcasts that he was on over the off season. The dude is just a giant bundle of love for these kids. You know, did he break some rules? I guess I haven't read the rule book, so I don't know. But if we just go based on what's happened in the past, genuinely, you can't pay high school kids or apparently give them anything, you know, at all, period. Just kind of like it used to be in the NCAA. I don't know, maybe the NIL's next for high school sports. Riley, what did you learn? What do you think?
Yeah, no, I think that's an interesting thought, man, and it's exciting to see with the season. We keep talking about it, but it's basically here now. It feels like so we are going to try to get some tickets here that we can give out and send some people in on behalf of Rocked On Detroit Lions. Hope to see some Rocked On jerseys and pictures of them. Anybody that's won jerseys that you got during the draft or any of these raffles that Will's done, post some pictures, tweet us, tag us in it. We'll be happy to repost it and share it. And I appreciate everybody hanging out with us. Let's see if we can get some tickets and everybody have a great, what is today? Tuesday.
Yep. And right now I have it open trying to get in and it's not letting me so far, but I'm going to keep trying.
Yeah, well, it doesn't open till 10. So for some reason, I'm not. Where did you find the link?
Right through the email they sent me.
Yeah, well, I'm not in my email. I'm on the.
Mine goes.
Well,
right
your
through.
email, that may be for loyalty only.
No, it's for training camp tickets, for the regular ones. They sent a new link yesterday, and it's through the Lions app. So I'm all logged in and everything. I just have to keep hitting refresh until it lets me in.
Yeah, and it will open early. It usually does.
Yeah. So for the next 20 minutes, I'm going to sit and hit this little button over and over again until it lets me in.
There you go. All right, y'all. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Officially the first day of training camp day. And it should be an interesting one. We're going to learn a lot about these Detroit Lions and quick. There is some new shirts that are going to be popping up. And I'm going to make sure that you guys all see them. I'm excited about them. So see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Go and probably go Detroit Lions. Get your tickets. Otherwise, hopefully we'll have some for you.
The podcast.
Shout out to Rocked On Detroit Lions, man. My pride.